Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome to my channel. This week's video is my 2022 January bullet journal and Notion setup. So if you haven't already seen my 2022 setup, both personal and university, please do check it out. I'll leave a link to it in the description box below, but otherwise let's get on to the bullet journal part of this setup. So originally I was going to do a pretty sad and depressing blue-grey theme since it is still winter, but I quickly decided that no, I did not want to do that because I wanted my journal to be happy and inviting and just really fun to use. So I ended up deciding to use these two Tombow dual brush pens. There's a dark green and there's a purple, and I did quickly just work out which one I wanted to use for which lettering before going ahead and writing in my quote for January. The quote for this month is, "And so the adventure begins," which is a quote that I have always loved, but also really fitting to have as January as the first month of the year. So I did use my much darker green dual pen to write in adventure in huge, fun and exciting looking font, and then I went back with my purple pen and wrote the line above and below it before using both of them to add some drawings, to add some style, which ended up being trees, an arrow and some birds in the distance. My general theme for this month is camping, is adventures, is exploration, because I really do hope to be doing a lot of that later on in the year. With the current pandemic, who knows, but I will remain hopeful. So after that I went in and wrote in January with both pens again, and also added some detail which I really think made it more fun looking and made it more interesting instead of just having a plain font. So after that I did add a drawing above and below, but before that I quickly sketched in an outline around the font and around the drawings. This is something that I went a bit off script with. I wasn't originally planning to do it. As you will see in the end, I really do like how it turns out. So once I did draw in the 4 lines, I kept a corner separate, kind of to make it look like a photograph that's peeling over, or a piece of paper that's been dog-eared, something like that, to make it more lived in, I suppose. And once that was done, added a little bit of detail and then went on to the drawings itself. So as I said, the theme this month is very much exploration and camping, so I decided to draw fireworks in the air and also a cute little, very simple scene below it that has a tent, it has a few trees, and it has a really basic fire drawing before I went back with my coloured pens and added in the colours to the fireworks. That I went with my washi tape, and you guys, you will not believe how much washi tape I own that I just constantly forget to use. So this month I made sure that I included 3 different rolls of washi tape. The first one being this purple kind of checked pattern. The next is this green, which is dots. Unfortunately they're not the same style, but the purple and the green do match my dual brush pen colours. So I cut out little triangles at either end just to make it more rough looking, more lived in, and that ended up being the end of my cover page. So after that, it is time to start the first of my weekly spreads. If you have watched any of my other videos before, then you will know that I do keep things a lot looser, a lot more unplanned, I suppose, serendipity almost, when it comes to my weekly bullet journal spreads. I do not date anything simply because my general life changes a lot from day to day, and having specific sized boxes or times, it just never really worked out for me because each day is so different. So because of that, I do keep things super simple. I usually include a drawing, as you can see now, but that is pretty much it. And then when I do come to that particular page, when I am writing in things I need to do for the week or for the day, then I add the drawings as I go, or I add details, or I add colour. Honestly, my final weekly spreads look so much nicer than what you guys see in the videos, simply because I haven't had a chance to actually work on them yet. So if you do want to see what my finished weekly spreads do end up looking like, please do head over to my Tumblr account at Sunscreen Studies, and you will see the pretty cool outcomes that I have each week. So for this month, I decided to change the layout every second page or every second pair of pages. So I will have washi tape at the corners for one page, and then for the next I will have a sticky note, which I will eventually end up writing to-do lists on, and I will also have a cute little drawing, which of course sticks with my camping theme. So speeding through the remainder of these, because I know there is a lot of repetition with this and I really don't want to bore you guys, I did go back with my dual brush pens and just added some colour. Match the colour to the washi tape, again just to give it a bit more pizzazz, a bit more even balance, but overall I did keep things pretty simple, pretty cute. As I said, I will be adding to the colours and the drawings as I go by week. And with that done, it is time to move on to my January Notion setup. So this is something completely new that I decided to do for this month, and it is very fitting that it is January that I will be starting with. So I've been using Notion for maybe 2 months now-ish, and I will be converting to it completely for my bullet journal in a few months' time. So I decided to go half and half bullet journal and Notion. So as you can see, very simple cover page. I have a list of sub-pages down below the image, and I have my goals, for example, organizing social media content calendar, which I definitely do need to get done this month. And then it is on to my first sub-page, which is the mood board. So I wasn't entirely sure how I was going to end up designing this. I knew that I definitely wanted to use a gallery layout. This will allow me to add different photos. I also removed the typos because I didn't want to see those on top of every photo, before heading over to Unsplash, which is free photos that you can use without a license, so I highly recommend instead of taking other people's artwork. And from here I just selected a lot of different adventure, exploration, camping themed photos that I liked, and I ended up adding them to the mood board one by one. So this definitely took a lot longer off camera than I am showing you guys. This video is sped up quite a lot because there was a lot of moving around, adjusting layouts, finding the right images to begin with, repositioning the images. There's a lot more involved than what it seems like on screen. However, I do really love how it turned out. I also included 3 quotes. The one in the middle you should recognize, "The adventure begins," is the same quote I used in my bullet journal. And with that, I have "Go up and never stop," which is super motivational, as well as "Do something great," which I hope is going to be the final saying or the final quote for 2022. So with the mood board complete, I moved on to the next page, which is the timeline. This includes important dates such as when I'm going back to university or New Year's Day. I also realized I could summarize this heading a lot more simply just by using the word events. And I also have a section for tasks such as university assignments. Below this there is a calendar which also has a timeline view, but I definitely prefer the calendar view because it is a lot neater, a lot more concise, and it shows all of January by itself. So with that, it's time to move on to the trackers. So this is 4 different trackers that I am using within Notion. First one is mood tracker. As you can see, I gave different moods, different colored boxes, and the whole idea is that each day I will change one of the grey boxes below the weekdays to reflect the mood that I was feeling. So for example, January starts on a Saturday, so on the 1st of January, perhaps I'm feeling happy. I will change that to a green background, as you can see in relation to the key. So the next day, maybe I'm not feeling happy, maybe I'm angry, I can change that to red, and so on and so forth until I have the entire month filled out. I did specifically keep it to Monday to Sunday with 7 days, just so I can copy and paste this layout for each month. After that, I have my habit tracker with a list of habits on the top bar as opposed to the side. So I can also add more habits if I wish, but as you can see, all 31 days have already been added. I've also set each habit to be checked so I can see how many habits I've done each day or how many of these habits have been done overall in the total month. So you might be wondering why I put the habits on top as opposed to down the side, and that is because for the last month I've actually been testing this out, and I did end up putting the habits down the side and putting the dates along the top, but it just really did not work out for me at all. This way you can see the habits will move down with you, whereas the other way they do not. So this is my December habit tracker so far, and as you can see the habits are down the side whereas the dates are on top. However, when I scroll across to see future dates, I lose the habits down the side and I have no idea what boxes I am ticking. I know I could add an extra column if I wished, but I just prefer to keep things nice and simple and set it up the way I have here. So we have the habits along the top and we have the dates down the side, and as I scroll down to each dates, the habit will scroll with me. After that, we have my sleep tracker, which again has 31 empty boxes waiting to be filled at some stage, and I am actually really proud with how this fell out or how this came out. So the idea is you put in the date and you put in the time you went to sleep at, and then put in the time, hopefully the next day, when you woke up. There's also a equation here that will count the number of hours slept, and there is the result based on how many hours sleep you want to get. So for example, if I change this to 11 p.m. I went to sleep at, and then I woke up super early the next day at 1 a.m., then this equation will get very angry with me and say, no, you've underslept because you only slept for 2 hours. So this is on screen. As you can see, this is the code that I used to actually work this out. Based on the amount of hours that are counted, it will give me a different result. So if I sleep over 9 hours, it would say you overslept. If I slept less than 7, you underslept. And anything else, in other words 8 hours sleep, is the perfect amount, along with a smiley face. So it bases this off of the result in the hours column, and the hours column is also an equation, which is date between equation. So this will count the hours between the fell asleep at and the wake up at times. Unfortunately, it does have to be dates as well as times, because that's how the date between formula works. So you can include times, but you cannot remove the date. You either have both or you have just the date. So that is my sleep tracker. There's also a section for notes, just in case I want to add in something, if you had weird dreams or if you figured out the secret to a perfect night's sleep, and that is where I'll add it. And finally, scrolling down to my work hours. So currently I am working part-time and I do manage my own hours, so it is very helpful to have a place where I can keep track of how many hours I've worked so far in the week and how many hours there's still to go. So it's a very simple table rather than a database. We have the day, the date, and the hours worked. I also decided to include a section below this where I include the total hours worked of the week. I have no idea why I didn't include this beforehand, but as I was going through showing you guys, I realized this would actually be a really handy thing to keep track of. So I just added an extra line below Sunday, which will keep how many hours I've worked in total. In case I have extra hours, I can move on the following week, or I have more hours I need to work up to make up for it. With that done, it is time to go on to the first of my 5 weeks. So this is pretty experimental. As you can see, there are differences between each week so far. However, for all 5 weeks, I have included a goal section, a weekly to-do section, and an important date. I did mess around with this quite a lot while filming, just to try and come up with the perfect solution or something that would make me use it, and I did decide on adding images because it is pretty plain how it is currently. So for week 1 it's just Saturday and Sunday, but in week 2 you can see how the final product actually looks. So I ended up moving pretty much everything down a line just to give myself more space to write in things to do each day, and then I added an image down below next to Saturday and Sunday, and to even it out and to make each day even, I decided to include another section of important things to do. So it was originally a call out feature, but I decided to change that and just use emojis and colour them the background to make it look similar, because the line spacings were different with the call out versus normal text. So added 5 lines just to write down things that are happening this week, and again coloured them, and this was the layout I eventually decided on. So I did have to work out a few spacing issues, but overall I am really happy with how it turned out. As you can see here, this was the original idea, but I quickly went against that and just added in all the features from week 2 into the following 3 weeks to make sure they were all similar. So quickly speeding through all of this, I did use different photos for each week just to again make something different. They are of course all adventure, exploration, camping related to tie in with my bullet journal team. So I did run into a bit of difficulty, as you can see, on week 5, because there is that extra Monday, the 31st is the start of a new week, and I prefer keeping months together as opposed to weeks together. So I did end up rearranging things quite a lot and ended up with this design, which I am quite happy with, since the week beforehand will still correspond to the previous 4 weeks. So this is how it eventually ended up looking. As you can see, I have a very adventurous mood board. I have my timeline with events and key dates, as well as a section for tasks or deadlines. I have my calendar below that. Then moving on to the trackers, we have my very colourful mood tracker, which I'm super excited to use. We have my current habit tracker, which may be adjusted as we go through the month. I have a sleep tracker, and finally my work hours. And now each of the 5 weeks. Week 1, as I said, is just Saturday and Sunday. Week 2 is the first proper week with my important things to note and photograph. Week 3 is identical layout, different dates of course. The same idea with week 4, and then finally the layout changes ever so slightly for week 5, since it does have that extra date added in at the bottom. So that is my final Notion January 2022 layout. I really do hope that you guys enjoyed this. Let me know if you're interested in more videos relating to Notion, because it is definitely something I will be using from now on. And finally, here is a quick flip through of what my bullet journal ended up looking like, so you guys can see both versions of this journal, both versions of my month, which does bring us, of course, to the end of this video. So please do like, smash the subscribe button, please hit the notification bell so you guys won't miss any other videos. Thank you so much for all your support. I do update new videos relating to study and bullet journals every single week, more or less. So please let me know if you have any ideas for future videos in the comments below, and I will talk to you guys then.